innovation consists of answering three questions. Does anybody care? That's the market customer question. Can we do it? This is the technology design question. And the third one is, should we do it? And this should we do it question is just a blind spot. So many organizations, the state of management for understanding customers and markets or technology and design is very high. But this should we do it question gets short shrift. What most companies do is they make a whole bunch of assumptions, show a hockey stick in a spreadsheet, and then, proceed as if that's true, when of course it's not. Over these many decades as a consultant or working at Xerox PARC or in academics, my colleagues and I have developed a lot of methods around this question of should we do it? Really, how do you answer this? And these methods and tools have been embodied into SmartOrg software and services so that you don't have to make assumptions and run to the market. You can actually have that visibility so that you can take your good ideas and turn them into great successes.
HP had this product called LightScribe. And LightScribe worked in a very simple way. On one side of the disk, you would burn the data, and on the other side, you could print on it. You could print labels. So HP thought this would be a very big business, and they were entirely focused on the supply chain and the bill of materials, which they were trying to get really, really down. When they did the tornado analysis, what they found was that the bill of materials was the bottom list of uncertainties, and at the top was something that they did not anticipate. And this is the era of Napster. So if you might remember, that is when the big music companies had sued Napster, and everybody was waiting for the decision, was it going to be legal to have MP3 files floating around in the internet, or could you continue to, would people be allowed to burn CDs at will? So depending on where copyright distribution came out, the market would either be really big or really small. And the tornado showed that extremely clearly. And when they saw that, they realized that they couldn't put all their eggs in one basket and look at this as a supply chain problem. They had to look at this as a market situation problem where they needed to have different strategies. So SmartOrg helped them with this tornado analysis and coached them in creating different strategies. So the big challenge for them was they would be competing with their own suppliers, which was a big problem. If they completely gave it away to other suppliers, then they wouldn't get in on this technology. So for the first time ever, Hewlett-Packard did something as a result of this tornado analysis. They created a consortium strategy where they got all the suppliers together, they built the standards for LightScribe, and they owned that brand, LightScribe. And that was a middle path approach where a massive amount of investment was not necessary. And as you know, the shakeout happened. Something that nobody anticipated took off. The iPod and the music digital rights came out one way, and they survived the iPod because of this pivot. And they made decent money. It wasn't a rock star product, but they found their niche in people who were, videographers of marriages and, personal events and so on. This got its own market there and did very well. So this is a concrete example of how SmartOrg's approach with the tornado diagram really created value for Hewlett-Packard in this case, where they could have lost billions of dollars if they had invested in this as a supply chain problem. One of our customers, they got this question, hey, we're having this big budget cut. We need to cut $10 million from the portfolio. What projects should we cut? Now, normally this is a scramble into the back room, run a bunch of spreadsheet models, do all kinds of algorithms, but we consider the wrong answer to this question. The right answer is, with the use of the tool we call the CFO chart, we can immediately tell the executive which projects to cut and what kind of a value loss this will represent for the organization. Because what's embedded in this question is a lack of connection between cost and value. When you don't connect the two, it's not apparent that just a $10 million cut in projects may actually mean a $100 million loss in value. Can you make that clear to the executive? So if you look at the CFO chart, this shows a sorted list of projects based on the value to cost ratio, and these are cumulative scales. So on the vertical axis, you have cumulative value, and the horizontal axis, you have cumulative cost. So you can see a budget line here. The way you interpret this graph is you would do all the projects to the left of the budget line. Now, let's say you're in this executive conversation and the executive says, cut $10 million in funding. You'd immediately look $10 million to the left of the budget line, and you can see that in this case, project C gets cut from the portfolio, but you would do the first 3 projects that were still in. So that's your immediate answer saying, yes, we know which one to cut. And we also know from this chart, this is the value loss in the portfolio. So respected executive, sir or madam, you are going to sign your name to the value loss, and we will be happy to deliver the cost cut. Just imagine if you could give that kind of an answer. What does that mean for your organization? Conversely, if the executives ask you to increase the value of the portfolio, your answer would be, well, let's move the budget line a little bit to the right, and we can then deliver the value you seek at this cost. So it has not only increased your value, it has also increased your budget. So the key message here is the value metric must be connected to the cost metric. And if that does not happen, then the executives are let down because they are not seeing the trade-offs of their decisions. That is the beauty of this chart. We are able to make those trade-offs transparent so that executives can make truly informed decisions. So SmartOrg worked with a Conservancy that was focused on land and marine conservation. And this organization was full of amazing people who were working very, very hard on lots of projects. They had 29 projects they were trying to get to completion, but only 9 of those actually mattered. Those were the 9 they wanted to focus on. And can you imagine cutting 29 projects down to 9 projects? These projects were all about land or marine conservation. And at the end of it, the team members remarked that we've got a big portion of our life back, so we can focus on the things that really matter. The innovation screen has in its vertical axis the probability of success, and on its horizontal axis, the value given you've succeeded. The low value and easy projects are called bread and butter projects. The high value and difficult projects are called oysters, and the low value and difficult projects are called white elephants. And in every organization, the white elephants suck out the organization's energy. And this organization had a ton of white elephants, had very few oysters. What that meant was their pipeline for innovation was extremely weak. They would never get the future pearls if they didn't invest enough in oysters. So when we did all of this analysis and showed it to them, we were able to rejigger their portfolio and reframe their projects such that they got a 3 times improvement in overall portfolio value, leading to an increase of over $100 million. So that is the kind of result we see pretty routinely in organizations. And it's not just about the numbers, it's actually a cultural transformation. The people who are on these white elephant projects, when they see this chart, they realize, hey, I'm on a project that's not very valuable. I would rather be on a better project. So they voluntarily are willing to move. Now imagine, if you could get this kind of a result, how amazing it would be in your organization, where it would kill a lot of the strife, unnecessary strife, and instead create a space where people can voluntarily focus on creating value.